Good morning. I'm in Riverside, California this morning. I worked 3 flights yesterday and got in pretty late last night, but I have a 33-hour layover here. So I plan on getting plenty of rest before we leave bright and early tomorrow morning. But also I'm going to be working on integrating some of the feedback I've gotten from my first round readers on The Last Nanny. So I've had 2 of the people that I sent the book to get back to me already. And it's been really positive and wonderful. Both of them had great things to say, which is always just such a relief, because when nobody else has read your book but you, you can think what you're going to think about it, but it's not really until you start getting that feedback back from other people that you just have a better sense of how it's going to be received. So I'm all set up here on the desk. You can probably see there. To work on integrating some of those changes today. So I'm really excited about that. It's still out with about 3 other people, and then 1 other person has offered to read it as well. So I'm going to be sending it to her this morning so she can get reading it as well. So far, really positive. I've been really excited about that. But I thought I'd just kind of do like a little layover / writing vlog, I guess, today while I'm here, and kind of give you a behind the scenes peek about how I work on my layovers, as well as, just some of the other things I might do. There's actually outside, I can see there's like a little farmer's market that they're getting set up for. So I'm probably gonna pop down there. And one of those stands has a really big line. So I definitely want to check out what they're selling there, because chances are I might want some of that. So you can see I am all set up at the desk here. This is the notebook I've been using for my notes on The Last Nanny. And if you watched my notebook, or not my notebook, but my planner flip through the other day, you saw that I was in my black cloth and paper for October. But before I left on this trip, I switched everything into a more November-ish color planner that I have. And this is from Erin Condren. So I think this is their champagne color. These are like a little flimsier. I kind of go back and forth with them. I like them because you can really pack your planner full, and it kind of bends a little bit, so it accommodates when you're really getting it stuffed full, but it's also kind of wobbly a little bit. So I think I always have mixed feelings about it. But I also brought, this might be a little ambitious, this is the notebook that I had started for working on my next book. And actually I do have the title written on the inside of that. So I'm not going to open it because I haven't shared what that title was. But when I had started taking notes on my next book, I had put that into this Archer and Olive notebook. So I don't know, that's maybe a little ambitious, whether or not I'm going to actually get to working on that today or not, but I brought it. We'll see what happens. And speaking of new projects, today is November 2nd. And so I think a lot of people who usually participated in NaNoWriMo, it sounds like a lot of them are not doing that this year for reasons. There's been like a lot of controversy around that event, things having to do with how some of their groups were mismanaged with regards to minors last year. So that's obviously very unfortunate. But additionally, I think the way they were sort of embracing AI and actually endorsing it looked like this year. And so, a lot of us writers have very strong feelings about that. So a lot of people are electing not to do that. Now, I think I have shared on previous videos before, I have never been successful with NaNoWriMo. I think there's been numerous years where I have tried. I was like, I get excited and I love the idea of it. I love the idea of the community and things like that. But, I think that pressure, that external pressure of producing, I think, like 67 words a day. I just always folded, always buckled underneath it, and didn't do well. And it's weird because there's definitely like times where I've written way more words than that in any given day, but I think it's like doing it every day. I don't know. It just has never really worked for me, but I know there's a lot of other people that are doing challenges just to sort of help people who are going to be missing that. I know for sure Sarah Cannon is doing the Rough Draft Challenge over on her Heart Breathings channel, and Kate Kavanaugh is doing a challenge as well. I think that one's 100,000 words. And it's like, I feel the same way I do every November. Like, I'm tempted. I love the idea of maybe participating. It would be fun to do like daily writing vlogs and things like that. But I just know that it's never really worked for me as a motivational tool, I suppose. But I did bring my notes from my new book, which I'm not saying what the title is just yet. I'm gonna keep it secret. But I don't know. Maybe we'll just kind of see how it goes. I have this idea. Maybe I can work on it a little bit today, but I'll let you know. We'll do some updates on this video of, how my layover is going and what I'm getting accomplished. Right now, I'm still really focused on getting The Last Nanny in tip-top shape. It's in really, really good shape based on my reader feedback, but I want to just make it the best story that I can, given this particular book. Okay, so I have been working on edits for about an hour now, and basically what I'm doing when I do that is I'm going through all the notes from one of my readers right now and just thinking of all their suggestions, and almost all of them I agree with, and I make the change, and a few of them I have to kind of think about and be like, oh, okay, so I think more of it has to be like if they're recommending something that has to do with like word choice or maybe something to do with a character or story kind of thing, and then I have to you just take a little bit of time thinking like, do I agree with that, or do I not, or whatever. Always, it's so valuable though, because I find that oftentimes your readers, they'll think of something that you either don't see or didn't think of yourself, and some of them sometimes it's just a really great suggestion. I don't always like it. It was the same when I would work with professional editors too, that I don't always agree with everything that they say, but sometimes I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that's a really good point, and I think that's probably the better decision to make. So anyway, it's a back and forth. I love it and I appreciate it, and the fact that I have people in my life that are willing to take the time to read my unfinished, well, it's finished, but like it's not a professional book yet, and out in the world, and they're willing to kind of take their personal time to look through there and give me their advice. I'm so grateful for that. And I know not every writer has those people in their lives. And I would say I didn't have that in my life when I first started either. And so if you are a writer and you're just getting started and you're like, it's hard to find people who are willing to read your work, just, keep writing, keep working. And I guess I would say, you build those relationships with people, and it's built on trust of that. The people, when I send them my work, they trust that I have done everything I can at that point to try to make that, even though they're providing they're pre-reading it for me, and it's not a fully completed book, I have still tried to make that book the best I can possibly make it before I'm even bothering sending it to them. And partially that's because like I value their time, and I want to get it. To me, there's no point sending something to somebody else when I know I still haven't made it the best I can make it myself. You know what I mean? And I also feel like I'm kind of wasting their time reading through things that are not yet my best work, and the first book I write it's not good enough, like for anybody else to read, quite frankly. And even the second version and the third, when I go through it, it's not there yet. I'm not comfortable enough because, for my pre-readers, I still want them to mostly enjoy the experience as if they are reading a book that is close to being done. I don't want them to get bogged down in, tiny, the minutia of every sort of editing thing that happens at, in every paragraph of the book. Like, nobody wants to read something like that. It's overwhelming. And so I guess that's one thing I would say, if you're a new writer and you want to get feedback on your work, just realize, like, you really should probably spend the time going through it yourself multiple times, trying to make it the best you can make it. And I promise you, the first thing you wrote is not your best. It's not anybody's best. Even when I read an email, I read back through it and I make 3 or 4 changes, before I send it, because I want it, I don't know, I guess you're putting something out in the world, you're communicating with other people, whether it's through story or, something as functional as email. Make it accessible to the other person, and particularly with books, make it enjoyable for them. And I know you could make it better. If it's your first version, it's not your best version yet. It will be though, and you have to trust that you have the skill sets, particularly if you've been an avid reader. It's good. You know what you read, and when you enjoy it, and when something's good. And the first stuff I write, it would not be enjoyable for anyone else to read, because there's too much clunkiness. There's the sentences aren't where they could be, the story isn't where it could be yet, and so, writing, it's work, it's hard work. And I think it helps to love it and to get some satisfaction from taking, something that's fairly raw of yours and molding it into something that is even better, so that when I am sending it to my pre-readers, I feel pretty confident that, even if they're not going to love it, I hope they do. I always hope they love it. No pressure, pre-readers. But I want them to at least enjoy the experience. And so when I hear back from my first couple readers that they got through it in less than 24 hours, this soothes my soul, because this is what I want. Because as well as I do as a reader, it's tough to get through any book in 24 hours if it wasn't enjoyable for you. And so that is what I'm always looking for. Like, I write commercial fiction, I want it to be enjoyable for the reader, and that's what I'm heading for. And so when I get that kind of feedback back, even though there's still changes I need to make based on their feedback, when they get back to me that they couldn't put it down, they flew through it, this to me, because that's the harder thing to change, right? It's harder to change, was the story super engaging, even though you found some things along the way that we're going to work on, was it so engaging that you couldn't put it down? And that to me is, it's the hardest thing to fix, I suppose, in a book. And and everyone writes different kind of books. Like, maybe you're writing something that is more elaborate than I am, or it's, more complex or more literary, or, whatever. And it's not necessarily something somebody is going to get through in a day or two, under any circumstances, but they're still going to enjoy it, and it's still going to be a great book. It's just the particular books that I write, they're commercial fiction. They are meant to entertain and sort of keep you riveted. It's a really key component of what I'm going for. So I am really, really happy that I have written another one of those books, those kind of books. And everything else is fixable. Like, everything else, any other feedback I get, something's not quite right here, this doesn't quite make sense, I can fix that. It's really, really difficult if the entire book is not necessarily enjoyable for the reader, because it's like you've got some big problems. So I feel really good that doesn't seem to be one of my problems with this book. At least that's not the feedback I've gotten so far. So anyway, I've been here plugging away at it for a little bit. It is just about lunchtime, and I'm going to decide if I did bring some food with me, but there's that little farmer's market going on outside, and I want to at least go walk around and check it out. It's a great movement break for me anyway, to get up from this chair and just move my body a little bit. So I'm gonna go outside, get some fresh air, kind of see what's out there. If there's nothing that I really feel like eating down there, then I'll come back. I brought some things to make, like chicken sandwiches and things like that. I always try to bring food on my long layover so that I'm not just eating out constantly, because of course that gets super expensive. But this seems like a fun little thing, and they got some music playing down there. So I'm gonna go for a walk, and I'll film a little bit while I'm down there. So see ya.
Just a dream, just all in my head. Floating rivers upstream, the things that you said. Tell me and be honest. Tell me, did you know that you would be leaving me just like the winners know? Tell me and be honest. Tell me, should I've known quiet and slow? I try my best to move on, to let go. They say time is a healer, just you wait and see.
Okay, I don't know how great the sound is going to be because I usually bring my DJI Pocket, and it has an external mic, and of course now there's music, so you're really not going to hear me, but I had forgot the SD card for my DJI. Anyway, I just wanted to make a little note about how adorable this little walking mall is, just like a block or so from my layover hotel. And you know, who knew? I didn't really realize that, you know, Riverside has such a cute little outdoor area, and there's lots of sort of benches. You can kind of see tons of restaurants, which I guess it makes me a little bit sad that I was so good about making sure that I packed food for this trip. So maybe I'll treat myself to a dinner, because there was a really nice Italian restaurant back there, and they had what looked like gorgeous outside patio seating. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to treat myself a little bit. Okay, I am back from my walk through the farmer's market in downtown Riverside, and I just wanted to share with you, look at how absolutely gorgeous these are. They look absolutely delicious. I couldn't resist, so I bought all of these. Obviously, I'm not eating these all on my layover. They'll just come home with me in my cooler bag that I brought with me. And then I also got this, what looks like a delicious loaf of sourdough bread. And I think I will be making my lunch sandwich with that. Okay, look at my lunch. This is made with that sourdough bread that I just bought at the farmer's market, and some of the berries that I picked up there too. So I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my delicious lunch while I continue to work on my edits. Hi, okay, so it's about 4:45 here, California time, and I have been working off and on today on my first readers' feedback. And I have gone through all of their suggestions, so I just thought I'd give you like maybe a couple stats. So they had provided me with 63 things throughout. It's like a 411 page manuscript. They had sort of shared 63 different things that they noticed, caught, like it could be like a typo or a missed word, or sometimes it's like hey, I think this sentence maybe doesn't like go here, or it should maybe go a little further down. So most of it was like kind of minor stuff like that. So of the 63 things that they noted, I have resolved 54 of them. And so what I tend to do, everyone's different, but what I tend to do is go through and fix the easy stuff first, right? Like this is a typo, here is, you forgot an "and" or "the" or something like that. Like I go through and just do all this easy, no-brainer type fix stuff. So that left 9 things that were not resolved. Of those 9 things that were not resolved, 7 of them were because I didn't agree with the feedback. So, I mean, just to give you like some examples, like, when you get feedback from readers, I tend to think like the gross majority of it is it's either obvious stuff or stuff that, they're right, you should do. But it doesn't mean that absolutely everything everybody tells you, you need to agree with. So the 7 things, I went through them again and I really looked and I was like, yeah, no, like I'm going to stick with what's there. I think that's right. At the end of the day, it's your book, you kind of make those decisions. But 54 of the things, I'm like, yep, absolutely. The 2 remaining things that I haven't yet resolved, and that's because one of them is going to require me to sort of write probably a couple paragraphs at the end of one chapter. And they sort of felt like, and I agree after I read back through it with them kind of shining a light on it. I'm like, oh, you're absolutely right. But it's a chapter ends and it's just not resolved very well before I jump into the next chapter. And so it's just a bit jarring. And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely right. So that's going to require a little bit more work. And I'm just kind of going through and getting that simple stuff out the way. So that's one thing that hasn't been resolved yet. And I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to take a break. And I'm going to maybe watch a couple YouTube videos and some of the other people who are actually doing the writing challenges this month. I might watch a couple of their like daily vlogs just because I find that relaxing and it's fun. I like to do it. So I might just chill out and do that for a little bit. And then I'll see how I feel later. The other thing that wasn't resolved, I'm just looking at my notes. And actually this one will only take me a minute. They had sort of said, so in the book, the place that my main character Libby goes to be a nanny at is a pretty high end, it is a very high end house, and it's in New Hampshire, whatever. And I had sort of described, this is just kind of interesting, when people call stuff out, but that in their pool area in the back, there's stamped concrete around it. And they sort of shared like, I think that it would probably be a more high end material than stamped concrete. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably right. It'd be some kind of like slate or stone or something like that. And so I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So that's that's a minor thing too, but it is going to require me to do just the tiniest little bit of research about, what would be, around, and would it not be stamped concrete? You know what I mean? So I just need to do a tiniest bit of digging around online, to sort of answer that question, and then put the material that would be not a big deal at all, obviously, but more than just kind of the no-brainers like fixes that I was going through. So I think that's pretty good. I feel like really productive. I made like really good use of this layover time for progressing the work on this book. Now I do have partial feedback from one of my other pre-readers, and I just kind of glanced through that, so I haven't really had a time to sort of dig into what they have sent me, and they haven't actually sent me all their notes yet. They've read the whole thing, and then they've only sent me some of their notes. So I guess I kind of decide, like, do I want to start digging into what they already sent, or just wait until I have the whole thing? And right now I'm just in break mode. I want to take a break, so I'll think about that later. But I want to resolve all of these things first. So that means I'm going to add that additional scene at the end of that chapter, which will kind of make that transition between the 2 chapters just a little less severe, and then obviously do a little research on what kind of material do very wealthy people have around their, what type of decking or concrete or tile or whatever do people have around their high-end pools. So I'll work on that. I want to get that done tonight. If I could get those 2 things done before I go to bed, that would be fantastic. Now I do have a really early van time tomorrow morning. I think our van pickup, and I'm in California, is 3:45. I know, right? Like so early. But I think tonight we fall back. So that's the other thing I need to double check, because I don't want to have to get up any earlier than I have to, since I'll be up early anyway. So that means, yeah, to bed early tonight, and won't be staying up late. So anyway, if I can get it done, that would be great. This will probably be the end of this video, unless I end up doing a little bit more work. I'm not sure, but I hope you enjoyed this vlog. This is kind of what my layovers look like. I will say I did have sort of some thoughts about, oh, well, I'll go down to the gym, and I went down and looked at the gym, and it'd be nice to exercise, and you know, I've been trying to be better about that. But I would say, like yesterday, my day was so long working those 3 flights. I think, but just working, like I didn't exercise specifically, whatever. I had over 14,000 steps for the day, and my Apple Watch had tracked 45 minutes of exercise time. So I guess that means like your heart rate gets up to a certain level, and that's probably, you know, when I'm trucking through the airports between flights and things like that. So I felt like when I have days like that, I call that a cardio and exercise day, because, you know, clearly I have been working, and all of my rings, they were filled and then they went around again. Even like my stand ring was, you know, all the way complete. So, I mean, the one nice thing about my job is that, like, oftentimes I am also getting a really good workout while I'm working, and maybe it kind of helps offset some of the sedentary of, you know, when I'm sitting in front of a computer and writing and things like that. But anyway, this will probably be the end of this video, unless I end up doing any additional writing. But I think I'm ready to kind of wind it down and go jump in the shower, wash my hair, kind of get ready, because I'm not going to want to get up any earlier than I need to tomorrow to get ready. So I hope you enjoyed this. I do plan on doing more of these throughout the month of November, even though I'm not, like, I don't think I'm going to commit, you know, to participating in any of the challenges. It just, a lot of times for me, it just adds a lot of pressure. And then I actually feel like I end up writing less. I don't know. It's weird. I probably need a therapist to like tell me about why that happens the way it does. But I just know that, you know, if my past is indicative of how I would probably handle it in the future. And I think I prefer to just kind of, I'm going to keep this month loose with regards to starting my new book, which I'm not going to talk about the title just yet. And I'm just going to really keep focusing on getting The Last Nanny in the best shape it can possibly be, and ready for readers to enjoy it. So anyway, I will be back in another video in a few days. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Okay, one more little video just to sort of say I am back working on the project. Clearly I've taken a shower, my hair is wet, my face is all shiny with moisturizer, and I'm in my pajamas getting ready for bed. This is a really good opportunity for me to go in and work on that end of chapter transition where my reader feedback said it was a little bit jarring. So it's about 6:20. It's about 6:20 here in California right now. So I am working on this and hoping that I can actually get this done, this little bit, or at least a draft of what that will look like during this writing sprint. So that's what I'm working on, and I'll pop back on and update you with how it's going. So this is what I'm working on right now. It's rough, and I'll actually have to obviously go back and edit it, but at least, you know, getting those words done to kind of help with that transition piece. I would be really happy if I was able to get this completed, as well as the other little edit piece, the second feedback piece from that reader done while I'm still on this layover. So I am still going to go to bed early because I have that 3:45 van time tomorrow, but wish me luck that I can get this taken care of, and I'll feel like I have really sort of completed all the edits from that first round reader. Okay, I'm just popping in to say that I did it. This big sort of piece that I had to write the transition for the end of the one chapter so that it wasn't such a severe breaking point before the next chapter. I wrote that whole scene. So that was perfect, because I was actually just going to kind of put that off until tomorrow or the next day when I was done flying. But I just kind of sat down, focused, and was able to get it taken care of. I'm going to highlight the whole thing because, of course, that piece hasn't been edited. It's all just like rough. I think it's pretty good, but I will probably have that particular reader who gave me that feedback look it over again and just let me know what their thoughts are on it. So anyway, I'm super happy. Today has been really, really productive for me, even more than I thought it was going to be. So this was great. I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is for sure the last you're going to hear with me because it's 7:40, and like I said, I have that 3:45 van time in the morning, so I am going to bed. But have a great rest of your day. I hope that if you're a writer, it's going well. If you're a reader, welcome to my channel. I hope you check out my books if you get a chance, and I'll see you next time.